So in this video, I want to share with you a recent lesson that I gave to Paul. I'm going to show you what we did with Paul and how we improved his golf swing dramatically in probably less than an hour. He went from this impact, which is going to be pretty common for many of you watching, and we turned it into this impact. So the great thing is we did it with 3 simple stages that you can do. So let's first of all look at Paul's golf swing and kind of show you why he was struggling to get that perfect impact. So at impact, his hands were a little bit back, he was adding loft, he wasn't really striking it that well. He was hitting down on the ball, but not as much as I would like to see. And his body was kind of in the process of moving back and away from the target. And it was all really to do with what he was doing in transition. In transition, he was applying, or he was forcing the golf club, so let's look at the club head, he was forcing the club head down towards the ground too much, too early. And as he was doing that, he was trying to shift his weight. And the two don't really go hand in hand. Let me explain why. As soon as you start to put a force with the golf club, there's going to be a reaction. So if I asked you to make a backswing, let's say 3/4 backswing, and as aggressive as you can, try and push the club head, throw it away like this, and push it down towards the ground, what's going to happen is it's going to force your lead side up and back. Nothing you can do about it, it's just forces, it's natural forces. So as he was getting to the top and he was forcing the club down, he was trying to shift left, but he couldn't do it. So if he'd have grabbed a bucket of balls, 100 balls, went to the drive range and said, right, really going to work on getting my weight forward today, really going to work on shifting to that lead side, he just wouldn't be able to do it because the first movement he was making made it impossible. So here's the 3 stages that we went through. I'm going to use my golf bag for this one. We actually used an impact bag, but I'm going to use my golf bag, and you can do this at home. The first one we did was I wanted him to use a floating takeaway, okay? So here's what we did. I got him to set up to this impact bag, and I wanted him to make this little movement. I wanted the club head to stay where it was, the hands to move away first, to drag the club head, and then in transition, flip them around and then make contact with the bag. So it looked a little bit like this. Okay, and we got him to do this really, really low speed. Okay, and he started to fairly naturally use his body and his hips to kind of get this flowing motion to happen. And you can see how straight away I'm able to make contact with this bag and my hands are forwards because of the way that I'm doing this. So even though there's no golf ball being hit and we're at low speed, I'm starting to create the movements that as we scale it up are going to translate to that almost perfect impact. What Paul would have done quite naturally is move the club head away and then force the club head to the bag. And even when I do that on these short swings, I can really feel it kind of pushing me up and back, and that's kind of the opposite move to what I want to try and do. So we go in grip, back, grip, through. Okay, grip, back, grip, through. And we start to get this, okay, which is completely different to what you're doing, which is almost club back, club down, club back, club down. So for these next couple of shots, swings, whatever you want to call them, try and get yourself out of, this is a golf swing, because it's not a golf swing. We're just trying to give you some different feels, okay? So imagine the club wouldn't move, your hands would go this way, okay? And then as you started down, the club would go back and you're just gonna hit the bag. Okay, it doesn't really matter what the speed is, we're just trying to get a kind of different sensation. Correct. So I'm just going to use this club just to slow the club head down first. So just go grip goes back, keep going, keep going, keep going, let the club, that's it, and then just change it over. Perfect, good, excellent. Okay, same again, so grip back, good, and then change it over, good, perfect. Because what you're going to start to do fairly naturally is you're going to have a fairly light grip pressure, because you've got to get this moving. So you'll start to quite naturally use because the club head is behind your hands, what you'll start to do is use your body to try and kind of make that change direction, if that makes sense. So this is your first little exercise, get the hands leading, swap those over in transition, and then you can hit the bag. So this, 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 this. And then there's no reason why you can't just do that with a golf ball. Now this is not going to be the greatest shot I've ever hit, it's not going to go particularly far, but I'm able to create that movement. And even though that's only carried, let's say 12 or 13 yards, I landed the club in the right place and my hands would have been forwards. That was our first exercise. We then scaled it up to what I like to call the umbrella drill. And if you just think about what we've done there, is we've got the hands and the club to be moving in opposite directions. We've got the hands moving towards the golf ball as the club head is moving away from the golf ball. That's the key to that first little exercise. That movement, that kind of changing of direction, we wanted to take that and just kind of move it up here a little bit. So the next little exercise was for him to make a backswing where he feels like he was pointing the club shaft straight up to the air. This bit here, which is effectively, you know, the grip going in one direction and the club head going in another direction, we want to keep that in the golf swing and move it up there. So this time, and this is, I call this the kind of umbrella drill. Imagine that's an umbrella, okay, with a canopy down there. In your backswing, you're going to feel like you point the umbrella that way. So you're not really using any wrists, okay? You will, but the feeling is not, okay? So you feel like you go backswing, but then as you change direction, then you allow the wrist to happen. So it's going to go feel this and then through. So effectively, same movement, it's just not being done here, it's being done at the top. Try it without a ball to begin with. Okay, so normal setup, just hips a little bit further forward. You feel like perfect, and then you feel like as you try and get your weight forward, then the wrists soften and come down to here. Perfect. Okay, and I want you to feel as you're doing that, that you are getting your knee and your hip really far forward. Okay, and then land the club there. That's it. Weight forward, let the club go. Perfect, good. Perfect. We've removed that aggressive throw of the club because it's that was forcing him up and back. That's why he couldn't move his weight to his lead side. As soon as he got to the top of his backswing with his rotation and he tried to move his weight forwards, and the club wasn't opposing that, he moved beautifully. He moved into that lead side, he got his weight forward, he got his hands forward, he did everything that he wanted to do. All we really did was gave him the tools to allow him to do that. And straight away, he started to strike the ball much, much better. We saw the attack angle go more down, we saw him landing the club better, we saw his hands forward, as you can see from those images that we showed you. We started to get those things that we wanted. And then it really just came to that final stage, which was sort of just saying to Paul, well, now we've created a scenario where you can move the way you want to move. So really it's a case of now saying, okay, well now let's start to put it into a full golf swing and let's just get that sensation of moving onto that lead side and really trying to land the club target side of the ball, giving him some external focuses rather than any technical focuses. So the last sort of phase to this really was to say, okay, we've now got this beautiful flowing golf swing where the wrists are working as we want them to. Let's now just move the weight into that lead side, focus on where the club is landing. And he started to, I'm not going to say instantly, because there was a few ropey ones in there, as you'd expect there to be, but as he started to get a little bit more comfortable with those movements, as he started to get a little bit more aware of how his body was moving and he was starting to sort of feel more comfortable doing that swing, we started to see some really great results. And he hit one at the end and he even said, that's the best golf shot I've ever hit. I've never hit one like that before. It went straighter, it went longer. So that three-stage process, really, really important. Go ahead and practice it if you're struggling with strike, and know that can help you.